Hello and welcome back to Court TV Live. I'm Michael Ayala. We have breaking news coming into our newsroom from Manhattan. There is a verdict. The verdict is in the Sean Diddy Combs racketeering and sex trafficking trial. We just got word moments ago that there is in fact a verdict. We also got word that his own attorney went over to the deputy, got the note, took it over to Sean Combs so he could see the note. And again, we just found out that that note in fact said that this jury does have a verdict. Again, he is facing 3 charges here. Count 1 is racketeering. He faces up to life in prison on that charge. Count 2 is sex trafficking by force or coercion. He faces 15 to life on that charges, and that involves Cassie Jane, and according to the jury instructions, others as well. And count 3, transportation for prostitution. That too is up to 10 years in prison. And again, that involves Cassie Jane and also others. So anyone can be involved. Let me quickly bring back in our guest, still with us, criminal defense attorney Sam Bassett. Sam, they were deliberating about 13 hours or so. We stopped that verdict clock. Here we are after 3 questions by the jury over the course of 2 days. Today involved some readbacks involving Cassie, the incident of domestic violence at the Intercontinental Hotel. Also, some of the readback involved one of the escorts who had situations with her, and a couple of situations with her. So your thoughts now that the verdict is in after 13 hours of deliberations?
I think if I was the defense, I'd be concerned. I still think the racketeering count is probably the most difficult count to find him guilty on, and it will be interesting to see what if their verdict is split or not. I'd be shocked if it's a full acquittal, but I was not. Obviously, I didn't observe the whole trial, so I'm never critical of a jury's decision. But based on the anecdotal facts as I have them, I'd be concerned if I was the defense right now.
Yeah, I would have to agree. And my understanding, as we continue to get information from Manhattan, the jury has actually reached a verdict on 4 of 5 of the counts, which I guess means maybe they were hung on one of the counts, Sam.
Maybe, yes. It's hard to say. Obviously, there was some division going on, or it wouldn't have taken 13 hours. But on a case like this, 13 hours is not a real long time.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised, actually, that based on the question they got this morning, now we found out that what they wanted initially, or at least what they had asked for, could have involved about 800 pages of transcripts. Now, the judge definitely pared that down, and obviously they got that around 12 in the afternoon, probably went at it after lunch, so they've been looking at it about 3 hours or so. Does that surprise you that they went through that? It sounds to me like they were looking for something specific. Maybe there's 1 juror, 2 jurors who were feeling one way, and someone thought that by reading back some of the information in those transcripts, they could convince them one way or another. That's kind of what it sounds like to me.
Yeah, I think jury dynamics are always mysterious to me, even after having done this a long time. But at the same time, most of the time you're dealing with 1 or 2 jurors who are like, I don't really think she said that, or I'm not really sure that that's what she testified to. And then the foreperson or the jury might decide, look, let's get the transcript, and then we can look at it to make sure the majority of us that feel X way are correct. And, that's just speculation, obviously, because every jury I've had, juries never fail to surprise me in how they reach decisions. I've become a little better at predicting overall results, but how they do it is different almost every time.
Yeah, it's a special alchemy that only those 12 people can really sort of work through. And that's one of the beauties of our system. Now, again, the situation is fluid. We continue to get information from out there in Manhattan. My understanding is that currently, Sam, the defense wants this jury to continue deliberating on that count. Remember, I said that they had a verdict on 4 of the 5, and they want the jury to continue deliberating to try to come to a conclusion on that 5th count. What do you think the judge might do?
He might let them deliberate more until they come back with a note that says we're hopelessly deadlocked on the 5th count. If I was a judge, I'd consider that certainly for another day.
Yeah, it sounds to me like that's the right argument to be making if you're the defense in this case. And I would imagine the prosecution might want the same thing at this point. I mean, being hung on a particular count doesn't mean that the deliberations is over on that particular count. There may be more that they can work through. And we've seen so many times when given an Allen charge where the jury is told to go back and continue to try to come to some conclusion, they often do. Sam?
To come back the next morning and have a fresh start at it.
Yeah. All right. So again, we are waiting to find out what the verdict is in the Sean Diddy Combs sex trafficking case. We found out moments ago that the jury handed a note to the judge. We thought it might be that they wanted to go home, but in fact, it wasn't. Although they will be going home soon, we'll have to wait and see. But they do, in fact, have a verdict in the case. Our understanding is that the verdict is 4 out of 5 of the counts, which means they may be hung on one of the counts. The defense is currently or recently has asked the court to continue to deliberate on that 5th count. And I had asked you about that, Sam, and we had some technical difficulties. I want to go back to that question. It seems like that the defense is asking that the deliberations will continue. So do you think that's the right thing for this judge to do?
I think the judge has to consider it. I mean, we're in a holiday week. There's one or two more days they can deliberate. I don't know that I would go too far beyond tomorrow, but I think the judge has got to consider letting them continue unless there's some indication they're hopelessly deadlocked.
Yeah, I would agree. All right, what I want to do now is I want to bring in our legal correspondent out there in Manhattan. She has been there throughout, our own Kelly Craft. She joins us now live outside that courthouse. Again, with all the latest on what's going on, we're understanding, Kelly, that there is, in fact, a verdict.
Good evening to you, Michael. What a scene outside this courthouse. I just made my way from inside the courthouse, and we were watching because we heard that there was a note. So we were watching to see Sean Combs' reaction. His attorneys had crowded around him. Brian Steele, his defense counsel, was doing most of the talking. This was the most negative body language we have seen from Sean Diddy Combs since this trial began. His head down, his hand in his head. He was in disbelief. Now, what we then found out, which is what the note ended up saying, is that we have reached a verdict on some of the charges. So what it says is we are unable to reach a verdict on count 1. That is the racketeering conspiracy charge. But we have some jurors that are unpersuadable. We have opinions on both sides. That's in regard to that count 1. But they have reached a verdict on those other charges. We don't know, of course, what that verdict is. Right now, we're just waiting for the judge to give the jury some direction as to what they're going to do. The 3 options: tell them to continue deliberating. Second, give them a modified Allen charge. And the third is to tell them that you do have the ability here to return a partial verdict. But we're not to that point yet. So we would doubt that the judge is going to go with the 3rd option, Michael. But that's the latest from here. And we're going to continue to follow this, of course. And if we do find out what the verdict is on those remaining counts, we will, of course, let you know.
All right, Kelly Craft, thank you so much for that report. Once again, folks, we have breaking news coming into our newsroom. There is a verdict in the Sean Diddy Combs sex trafficking trial. The jury has reached a verdict on 4 of 5 of the counts. Waiting to find out what the judge does. He send them back to continue deliberating or not?